And there you go, good girl. Thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt you there. Madonna, we're back with you.
Cool.
You're right there, you're losing your head.
Yeah, losing my head. I've got my helmet hair going on and it's not helping me.
You look all right. You look all right. I'm sure Flavio would be happy.
I'm sure he would be. So, yeah, it has actually been a bit of a ride since Congress. So that's been 6 weeks I've been back. And the big things we've been chatting about with our clients are sort of trying to get our men in to go and get their testosterone checked if they are thinking they've got things like chronic fatigue or low libido or things that are linked in with, well, let's face it, men's energy, and their health. You know, the low testosterone is also linked in with things like depression and anxiety with men. So when it starts getting haywire, you know, start looking at the symptoms and thinking, okay, is my doctor checking this? And if not, why not? Let's get it checked. You know, it's a sex hormone. They check chicks with it all the time, so why not the guys? But I think guys have to stand up, you know, and ask for these things. Because let's face it, men don't want to admit that there's a problem with their testosterone.
Oh, yeah, I know. Men are like that.
You know?
That's the way we're designed. You know,
Yeah.
We're vain.
Yeah.
Women aren't vain, are they?
No, not at all. I'm not worried about my helmet hair. Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the things has been, you know, educating men in the last month and sort of also then talking to them about if they've got that history of, because, you know, men over the age of 50% have an enlarged prostate. So we're not talking a small percentage. And I think we chatted a few weeks ago, there's more prostate cancer than there is breast cancer. So once again, it's something that really needs to be looked at. So no wonder Dr. Flavio is doing so much research in testosterone and prostate cancer and that sort of thing, because there's so much fear over, well, let's throw out another concept. Is it anything to do with vasectomies? I'll bet there's never a study on that, because you can bet your bottom dollar no girl wants their man to say, I'm not getting a vasectomy, if that's what she wants. So there's a fear of doing studies asking, is that a problem? Because then men will put their hands up and say, well, I'm not doing a vasectomy, and then the woman has to take hormones for the rest of her life. So, you know, and this is something I hear with couples all the time, you know, and it's a constant challenge, because, you know, which is worse, you know, and once again, we don't know if vasectomies are linked in with the high risk of prostate cancer, or like we've been talking the last few the last few weeks about whether it's more about the environmental toxins, which is what I think it really is. I think it's the environmental toxins being activated by the change in hormones as we get older. So that's sort of one thing. And when we sort of do our testing, like say the oligoscan, the big minerals that we need to be nice and high in men are things like zinc and magnesium and potassium. So you want potassium to tone the nerves. You want magnesium for your heart, for your energy. You know, like Stephen was talking about the ATP in your cells, making that mitochondria, making that energy in your cells. Magnesium's part of that process as well. So, and there's estimates that sort of 60 to 70% of us are magnesium deficient, because there's not a lot of it in our soil these days. So it's a real frustration.
You've been in the New Leaf Therapies for how many years so far now?
Well, in Wynnum, 11 years, but I've been doing it for 23 in Wynnum.
Okay. Have you noticed a difference in the ideas of men with their attitude towards coming and
Absolutely.
doing the things we're talking about?
Yesterday I had 3 men in my clinic. So, because I called out to the girls the other day, I was responding to someone who made some smarty pants comment on YouTube, and I sort of said, what percentage of guys do you reckon we're getting in these? And going back, say, 10 years ago, it might have been 5% or 10%, whereas it's probably around 30% of our clients are guys these days, which I think is really amazing, and a lot of them are dealing with the emotional gear.
Yeah.
So for the guys out there who don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. But a lot of guys, they know they're miserable. They know they're getting home and they're self-medicating with a beer or two. You know, they know they're waking up without that lack of energy, and then they're feeling frustrated and unhappy at work because of, you know, the mortgage and the wife and the kids and the whole kit and caboodle or whatever it is, or a bullying boss, or, you know, so it's a safe place at New Leaf to sort of start dealing with those things. So whether we're doing our naturopathy counselling, or whether it's the kinesiology that Georgia and I do, or whether it's the universal consciousness and acupuncture, that'd be Rob needling you, ha ha ha. So whatever sort of process people choose to do, it's a safe place, and I think that's what people need to know. One of my clients is a psychologist. She's got a master's in psychology. And she was saying that one of the big fears when people go to a doctor and admit that they're depressed or anxious or get into that mental health system, as a psychologist, she knows how hard it is for people to undo damage they've done by saying they've got an illness. So if it gets back to, say, the employer, or if it gets into the insurance system somehow, or, there's a lot of people who are fearful that something is going to get back to someone and make them lose their job or lose their livelihood. Or, and it's a bizarre fear, because doctors aren't my first call for everything, whereas I know a lot of people that is their first port of call. So you don't want to go on a mental health plan, which gives you nice, cheap psychologist appointments. Don't want to do that if then it becomes part of your history, where someone could go to court and say, hey, you were on a mental health plan, there must be something wrong with you. Whereas I think people need to start redefining mental health. It's not the way the government works, though. Like if we're in the army and we've got mental health issues, that can be a reason for dismissal. So it's a real fear out there for people. So I suppose we're not connected to anyone like the government or the AMA or anything like that. So it's a safe place. I think twice in 25 years I've had to give copies of people's files to Health Fund, maybe, and that was usually after an accident or an injury or something, and they wanted like a history since, something like that. Yeah. But it's only been twice. It's certainly not something that happens very often.
What you're saying is their information is very secure.
Oh, it's very secure. But I was even thinking, because I so many men and women going through the court system with things like kids, trying to get custody of their kids, both mums and dads, and the trauma and the stress in the background for them, when they're trying to either get custody or, whatever's going on. And once again, that's the sort of thing where they're often openly saying, well, I can't tell my doctor about this because everything is subpoenaed for the court. Whereas, let's face it, courts don't like naturopaths and kinesiologists. So no, not at all. No, because we're not under the AMA banner. Right. So therefore they really don't care what we say and wouldn't take us seriously anyway, which for our clients is actually a really good thing. And I often have people, I go to write something down and they say, what are you writing down there? And I said, no, I'm just, they're really fearful of that written word of, which is, once again, it's interesting to me because I'm so far outside that AMA government umbrella that it strikes me interesting that that's where people's first thought is a lot of the time. Anyway, we're a safe place.
Okay, well that's important to know because that can sort of steer people off maybe coming to see you or going to different places like yourself. Yeah. But it's an important thing.
It really is.
That everything is confidential and it stays confidential.
Exactly. And even with things like if we have a wife who sends in a husband, for example, we don't tell the wife what's going on unless we get, the permission from the hubby. So, we're very careful with people's information. I do think that's...
It's very difficult. I can understand. It's something that I've never thought about in my business and never thought about the fact that you're not under the umbrella of the AMA. And, until you mention it like you've done at the moment, I would never have given that a thought. I'd be concerned about that info.
Yeah. So it's just a little by the by. Another one of the big things that's been coming up a lot in the clinic, and I was chatting again to Georgia about it yesterday, was the whole MCAS thing, the mast cell activation syndrome. And I was having another read this morning on the internet because it's quite a bit of a thing for me at the moment, really getting my head around how it's impacting on people out there. And one of the questions on one of the histamine websites, because it's when histamine goes out of whack and when the body has a hard time getting histamine out of the body, and there's all sorts of things that will help the body to release it once it gets stuck. But once again, for people who have heard it and aren't quite there yet, it's the histamine can build up in the brain, the spine, the uterus, the lungs, the gut, and then it can be activated and cause unknown pain, so basically it can cause migraines, it can cause asthma, it can cause back pain, it can cause gut pain, it can cause unexplained uterine pain. So, so these sort of things where people are getting scans and they're getting tests and everything's coming back okay, histamine might be one of the linked things. So Georgia as well with the kinesiology so Georgia and I both are naturopaths and kinesiologists, and so we've both started muscle testing histamine as a causative factor and finding that what it can do is activate deep hidden survival patterns in the body. So when the histamine starts building up in the body goes into panic. And of course, the panic doesn't help anything, but it's almost like the body knows that it's going to be creating pain, because you can imagine fear of pain is one of the big things that, it's like with Stephen talking before about exercise. I know that people don't like to exercise because of pain, but the pain's going to get worse if we don't exercise. So it really is about finding some exercise for you that works. If you're okay in the pool, get into the pool. If you're okay in a sauna, get in a sauna and sweat. Sort of do something to make that blood in your body move. But yeah, we've just got to start, find a process that works.
The walking, if your knees are gone, like my knees aren't the best these days, but get in and have the walk. Get out and do it.
Exactly.
And I suppose that busy people sometimes use the excuse of no time, but that
yes.
Your life is going to be shortened anyway, so you're going to lose time if you go too early, aren't you?
And I think the people who are really busy, if they schedule it, they'll make it happen. Yeah. That's the funny thing about busy people. They do tend to fit 38 things into their day. Why not exercise when you know you've got to do it? Yeah. Okay,
so girls, if you're out there and you're listening to what Madonna said, and your man friend or your husband or whatever got a few problems, give us some telephone numbers. Maybe they can give you a call.
Yeah. So 3348 6098. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing is, Rob's part of a men's group. Have you ever been to a men's group or men's shed or anything like that? No.
Well, only involvement in sport.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Which is obviously fantastic for people's psyches. But Rob, our acupuncturist, he's 40 and he's been a part of this men's group thing for 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. He was going up the Sunshine Coast all the time to do it. Now he's got a place. It's somewhere in Brisbane. Can't remember, but. Yeah, so Rockley maybe, anyway, wherever it is. But basically, it's the sort of thing where, once again, men can come in and really find companionship, except that's the wrong word. You know what I mean? It's basically a dude's group, and to help you, find it, once again, a safe space where you can talk about things, But, so I think that men's health is really important. I think paying attention to your symptoms, if you're not finding solutions with your normal specialist doctors, naturopaths, GPs, whoever, maybe there's something we know that someone else doesn't. So it's not a bad idea giving us a call and sort of seeing if there's something we can do to help.
All right, Madonna, we have run out of time. We're heading towards that news.
Beautiful.
And Ted's in after the news, so have a great weekend. Safe trip on that bike. And
thank you.
Nice and easy. We'll be back after the news. Ted will be back with after the news. Have a great weekend. Catch you soon.
At the same time next week to hear